Welcome to our words of encouragement today. I was sitting at my desk and earlier this morning I was looking at some of the pieces of what makes people feel important, what makes them feel like they were noticed. And one of the things that matters probably the most in the world is for you to know their name and to be able to use it and call them by it. That piece so often is somebody says, well, I visited this church and the person remembered my name when I came back. And I will tell you that as a pastor, I understand the importance of knowing somebody's name. And I also know for my own self how difficult that is for me. I have to write them down. I have to practice them. I use them in conversations. I try to say people's names back to them. It still doesn't always work. But the reason we like to hear it, we're conditioned to hear that John. And it comes across and we hear it and we respond to it. The thing that I was thinking about when I was reading a couple of different articles on that today, was that how often Jesus stopped and focused on a single individual. And when I started realizing and thinking about it, there were lots of different biblical stories that I could think of. But one of them is when Jesus is very busy in Luke chapter 8. The young lady who has had a female problem for all of these years, for over 12 years, and not been able to be healed, realizes if she just touches the hem of Jesus, that she might be healed. So Jesus is on the way toward Jairus' daughter, who was dead. It says, and as Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. Jesus says, who touched me? And when they all denied it, Peter said, Master, there's so many people crowding around and pressing against you. But Jesus said, somebody touched me, and I know that the power's gone out of me. And then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. And in the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. And then he said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Or there clearly is this piece of somebody having faith and of God's gracious gift of healing and grace. But there's also that piece where in the midst of all of this, he's going to go raise somebody from the dead, and he knows he's on that pattern. But in the midst of it, he stops. And he says, who's the one? Where's the person that needs to be acknowledged today for this moment and for this time? Christmas is very busy. I know in my own life, I run around frantic. And sometimes it is hard for me to slow down and go to think about stopping and acknowledging and living in that presence of who I'm with. Learn a name. Make a phone call to a friend you haven't talked to, or the neighbor who has lost somebody this year that is facing a blue Christmas for the very first time. Acknowledge somebody in a different way where they hear their name. And what they ultimately will hear is that they matter. The whole point of that is that ultimately they might know they matter to you, but that they might hear that they matter to God as well. Because sometimes in the midst of that struggle, it's even hard to realize that. So go learn a name. Go acknowledge somebody in the midst of this crazy Christmas season. It's a great blessing. It's really frantic sometimes. For some people, it is blue. It's a great time for them to know somebody cares about them and acknowledges them. I hope you have a great day. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. God bless. Peace.